Hello everybody, welcome back to Labz. Times have changed. The zombie apocalypse is here. Do we run? Do we hide? Or do we adapt and build? Do we survive? We got a couple of experiments today. It's gonna be on the shorter side. I'm trying to keep it on the shorter side. I keep going long on the Labz because there's a couple of experiments that it's like I want to see how the experiment progresses from here to here to here. And I realize that some of those are not digestible bits that I'm doing. So, I'm going to try to only do 2 projects. We'll see how this goes. First off, I have been taking my time trying to go through the parts, and I think I have determined that what I'm probably going to do is just set up some kind of off time or another to try and go through all of the blocks and discover the pathing. I'm thinking maybe a live stream where we just set aside 2 hours, go through all of the blocks, and do all of the pathing together. Seems like it could be a thing. If you guys are interested, let me know down in the comment section, because, I mean, I can sit here and go through all the blocks and I can explain it to you, or I can do them a little bit by a little bit. And I think most people just kind of want the answer, not a little bit by a little bit, but just want the answer. So let me know. There are, however, a couple of blocks that people tend to use. Why is there a portal over there? What's going on? The only place with those kind of particle shadows thing. Didn't realize I was building a Stargate. Okay, there's a couple of blocks. A lot of people have been using, like, the poles and everything else like that, now that these zombies are not doing... Actually... I guess I would have to redo that test to find out if that's a thing. In previous alphas, this was actually a part of a video that I scrapped at one point because the block pieces had been changed back. Now I feel like I need to redo it a different way, but I'm not sure whether or not it's actually necessary. If anybody has seen anybody else doing this test, then the question has probably already been answered. I could probably set it up to do a really quick test to be sure. Has to do with the block damage. There used to be, in a previous alpha, you would not use certain blocks because the zombies could do additional damage to smaller blocks. Then the Fun Pimps changed it to where all of the blocks had different health depending on the type of block that it was. And then they changed it back, so I don't know if the zombies can now do additional block damage to smaller blocks. I have no idea. I have not redone that test because that was part of a test that I scrapped because of the block changes. As you can imagine, that gets a little frustrating. So, what I will probably do is have to redo that test at some point. Anywho, right. Okay, I'm klutzy. That's all there is to it. Okay. As long as that has been established, I'm just a klutz. It's fine. What we're gonna actually do is find out whether or not each one of these poles has pathing, basically. I was trying to lead up to the whole pole discussion. Because in previous alphas, certain poles had pathing and certain poles did not have pathing. So let's find out. We're gonna do the testing on the center pole first. Let's do a deferral, because that's usually what will come after you during a... Thick, you are not on the brakes. Go up the ladder, dude! Come on, you should be able to path this. There we go. Okay, so. Center pole is fine. Good. Okay, pathable, otherwise he would not be coming up. And he's a little chunky going over the top of it, but is indeed pathable. Let's try... That was the center. This one is... No, not you. You. Okay, so this one is centered in the back. Alright. Thick. Dude. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. It's not pathable. Probably should move that. Dude. Okay, so the top of this thing is not pathable. And it's the one that is in the center in the back, which is this one. Not pathable on that side. Thick, you're not unbreak, dude. Walk around, derm. And pathable on that side. Okay, now, just to be on the safe side, because the pathing on this one can be a little bit weird, because of how it's sitting, let's put it along his side. And just completely be sure that Bo can indeed bounce his booty right over that. Hey, come on, dude. Oh no, are you telling me this way is not pathable? Say it isn't so thick. Why are you messing with stuff, huh? Okay, so there you have it. On one side it is pathable. Now the odd thing is this is not one of those blocks I can paint each individual side for. But that side is not pathable, which, you know, if you were to say it's possible this way, what if we do just the opposite way? Why it would change on one side as opposed to the other? No clue. Let's try it. Thick, if you wouldn't mind gracing us with your presence. Not pathable. Okay. Okay, now, given the fact that it could path the opposite side of this, one would make the assumption that this side would be pathable as well. But it's just for some reason or another the sides are not pathable. Thick, dude. Dude. Why are you taking so long, sir? Oh no, he fell down and go boom! Hey, get up and try it again, sir. You're embarrassing yourself and all of zombie kind doing this. We'll wait here. There you go. Okay, so, top and bottom, not sure how you would determine that one, but this particular block, I would say, merits more discussion. We're gonna do... texture picker. We're gonna do weird properties on the center one right here. That side, absolutely not pathable, but the other sides, there are certain sides of it that are pathable. Along the side... This side, where it sits on the bottom of the block and the top of the block, pathable. When it is sitting on the side of the block like this, it is no longer pathable, so be very careful about which way you turn this particular block. You may realize you didn't actually give the zombies a path that you meant to. Okay, now then we have one more block. We did the center, we did the center. Now let's copy that shape. This one is in one of the corners. So first things first, let's try it this way, since this happens to be which way I decide to copy it. Do it. Not pathable. Not pathable. Not pathable. Okay, not pathable. Thick, thick, thick. Stop it, sir. You're breaking my stuffs. Okay, and then we've got this way. Why would this make any difference since we already checked the sides? I don't know, but we are going to throw this in this pattern just to see whether or not it changes, and if it doesn't change on this side, it stands to reason that it's probably not going to change on the other sides either. Because we've already determined that these sides are not pathable, but just to say that we have given it a shot, not pathable. Okay. Alright, not pathable. And since that's the case, it stands to reason that the other side is not going to be pathable either. Not pathable. Alright, so this entire one... give me that. This entire block. Not pathable. So we've got one that is pathable on all sides. We've got one that is pathable on only some sides, and we've got one that is not pathable at all. That's all of the poles tested. Now, one other thing, oh my gosh, one other thing that we are also going to test really, really quick is to ensure path changing is still an option. By path changing, I'm going to say, maybe for some reason, now speculate this inside thine brain holes. Don't ask me where that came from. Too much caffeine. Don't even ask. Okay, say, you have a base, and it's a lot bigger and fancier than this right here. But what you have is you have two different paths, and you want to encourage the zombies to take one path over the other path during a particular part of the horde night. And then, during some part of the horde night, you want to change what path they're going to take. Say, you've got dart traps on one side and dart traps on the other side, but you want to divvy up how much ammo they're using. You want to divvy it up between the two sides, maybe make sure that the damage is scattered throughout the base instead of on concentrated blocks, thereby taking out the stability, which we all know the stability in this alpha is wrecked. And maybe for one reason or another, you just want to be able to move them from one side of your base to the other side of the base organically during the fight. Okay, now, this is what worked last time, and it was basically a series of hatches or doors that you would open or close to encourage the zombies to move from one side of your base or the other. Now, first question is do the doors still act as a path? Again, let me move over here and drop a thick on the floor. Obviously, it sees it as a path because he is indeed walking up here. Okay, now, from one side to the other, okay, so that pathing actually works. They can still path over doors, which means they're basically going to path over all of the doors. Now, the roller doors are going to be a little bit more difficult, a little bit more technical to work on, but basically you can take this small little concept that I'm throwing here at the end of it to move the zombies around your base in case you haven't considered the possibility of doing so. That option is actually open. It will work for, as far as I know, every single door that is there, plus all of the hatches. You just have to remember to support your door. And by support your door has to be supported from the bottom. This little section right here has to be supported. Let me show you really quick with the actual door. Alright, you can see the block where the door is actually taking up the block. Right now, because I'm attaching it where I am, it is supported along the bottom by the bottom block. The one that's missing... Hold on, let me see if I can get it closer to my face. There we go. On the left-hand side, you can see the bottom of the door. There's no door jamb, so to speak. That is the bottom part of the door. That's the part that needs supporting. If it's supported from the top, say if I take it here, if I do it here, it falls because it was supported on the top, not the bottom. You have to turn it around. And right here, you can see that the bottom of it is actually attached to that block. Now it's supported. There might be the occasional time that you want to add the door in where a support doesn't exist specifically, like in a block. Say if I wanted to set it above this set of blocks, maybe if you took... I mean, even that would work. Say I wanted... Perfect example. Say you wanted to put your vault door, because the vault doors can be powered, which means you can do switches and stuff like that to change it out. But because the vault door is bulky on one side, you want it facing a specific way so the zombies don't get stuck on it. But for some reason or another, the way that you want it, it won't quite sit there because it's not in that block. So if we elevate it by 1, like that, now it's technically sitting in the block above my path. And it is supported because that block right there is now supporting it. This might be useful for trying to create paths where paths don't necessarily exist, with doors that are kind of bulkier than you want them on a specific side. So you just have to pay attention to which part of the door is actually the bottom part of the door, and some of them might be a little difficult to figure out. So you might have to do a bit of experimenting. I would say definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, having at least one creative world in any of your gameplays would probably help out. That way, if you want to test something without using the resources, you jump over to the creative world, you test it out really quick, and then you put it in your world, because resources are very finite in your worlds. They're very hard to come by, and depending on what mod you're running, it could be actually dangerous wasting resources. So definitely try those things out. Make sure you understand which part of the door is like the bottom, like here. On these wooden doors, it is very, very easy to see which part is the back. You can tell where the hinges are, where the handle is on these particular ones, but say if we were to do these. How easy is it to determine which one of these two hatches are sitting which way? It is actually very difficult, so I always use these hatches and upgrade it to one of these hatches, because for me it's easier to ensure that I actually have it sitting the right way. Now, see, I would have guessed the other way. I mean, you can try and figure out this little block right here is in the top left of where it's laying down, or you could just lay this one down. It's very, very easy to see. Very, very easy to see which way it opens. It's very easy to make. It takes like, what? What does it take for a hatch? It takes 6 wood. Not very expensive. So if you take that, you upgrade it once, 4 wood. Upgrade it again, 12 iron. Upgrade it again, it's one of these. But it's actually sitting the way that I want it. I didn't have to tear it back down. So sometimes whenever you're building all of these things, if you are having trouble or don't even want to use the idea of the creative concept, try starting out with the wood instead of crafting the other ones. Well, craft them because you need them for the upgrade, but lay down the wood one, upgrade to the iron, then upgrade to the steel. But use the wood ones kind of as your, I'm going to try this one out situation, and then upgrade past that instead of just laying in the, like, vault door, which is very, very expensive or whatever. Upgrade to the vault door via your wooden doors and stuff like that. Yeah, and also pay attention to this. If you're wanting to use it as a path, you probably want it to drop down below it so the zombies don't get stuck here and beat on the door for you. So depending on which way you're going, you may have to actually put in this extra block and then ensure that the zombies will path over that block to continue on the rest of the path. That is pretty much it that I wanted to do today. I just wanted to test out that block and ensure that the hatches worked, and to give you this little pointer for people who are new, that you can go from a wood to reinforced wood to reinforced with iron, to an iron door, to reinforced iron door, and all the way up into a vault door in a series of upgrades. That way you can ensure that your door is the way that you want it to. It's opening the way you want it to, it's sitting on the block that you want it to sit on, and that kind of thing. Instead of just automatically building the vault door and setting the vault door in, because I've actually done that I don't know how many times. Set a vault door in, realized it was facing the wrong way, and then had to tear that 7,000 hit point thing back down and rebuild another one because I didn't do the wood door technique. I would definitely recommend doing this for... I don't even know how that happened. Are we situated in my head again? Okay. And anyway, that's to give that kind of pointer. Just make sure you have it the way you want it to, that it's not sticking up into your path because the zombies might beat up on it. This way works for these particular types of doors, but it depends on which way you want it to face, what shape your base is in, whether or not you're going to upgrade to, say, the power doors so you can throw a switch to change the paths, or if you want to run through your own base and change the doors yourself. That is all up to you. We have also tried all of the bars that you might try for a pathing. Just remember, whenever it comes to the bars and all of the new blocks, you're going to have to test the pathing before you add it into your horde base, because there's a chance you might realize too late that it doesn't allow pathing like you think it would, and the zombies are just going to sit around the base of your horde, base, and beat on it instead of going the pathing you think they should. So, these particular blocks, let's go back over here and look at them, because I was actually asked this question while I was in server the other day, and I didn't have an answer because I hadn't gotten to the bars. The center path, the center block, the center pole block, is called the pole. Then we have the pole centered and the pole side centered. This is the pole side centered. This is the pole centered, and this is the pole. Okay, anyway, the pole centered... Pole side centered is pathable on the sides, and only 2 of the sides. Right now, because the way the painting works, I can't actually paint that properly, but 2 of the sides are pathable, and 2 of the sides are not pathable, and the top is not pathable at all. So be very careful about which pole you're using for your base if you're actually wanting them to path over the pole for one reason or another. I think that is it for the day, guys. I will see you in the next video. You have a wonderful day, wonderful night, and you stay shiny. Bye!